Hi everyone. So let's talk today about overwhelm. One of my clients, let's call her Jane, she came to me and she said, I'm feeling too overwhelmed. I just cannot cope with this stress. My to-do list is so long. I can't meet the deadlines of my work. Colleagues are not happy with me. My son is not getting enough of my attention. My life balance is just non existent and I feel completely out of control. It's affecting my mood, my thinking, I'm forgetting more stuff, and I just feel overwhelmed. So, when you have chronic overwhelm, this is really an alarm bell because we have work pressures, we have parenting responsibilities, financial strains, mental health issues. It can all be part of these daily strains of living in a fast paced world. But when it comes to much stress and overwhelm, they tend to result. So, if you're dealing with any chronic overwhelm, again, it's an alarm bell, because if your body perceives too much stress, you're accumulating, then on top of the pile it becomes just too much. And if we're in a chronic overwhelm state, chronic anger can appear, inertia can appear, insomnia can appear, wanting to isolate yourself, anxiety can increase. And feeling overwhelmed, it frankly speaking, it can come from all kind of directions, but mostly it's related to anxiety and feeling out of control. Because when we're faced with persistent stress, pressures, emotions, and I'm more referring to chronic ongoing negative experiences, it all becomes too much. So overwhelm, it can manifest as intense anxiety, even panic attack. And it can have really also psychological and physiological responses that might really require medical attention. But more commonly, being overwhelmed, it's gonna lead, again, as I told you, to increased fatigue, even burnout, brain fog, guilt, despair, powerlessness, and feeling of doom. So when you're in this overwhelmed state, you're just not functioning really well. Your concentration is not there. You're not achieving your goals. And it's because often we just put too much on our plate. We have too many things going on. And is this society where busyness is a sign that you're doing well, right? We often work really long hours. We often fill our weekends, our days with so many things. We often cannot say no to people, and that busyness is just a status, right? Where in Denmark, if you work really long hours, it's a sign that you're inefficient. You're not working in a good way. But in our society today, if you work well, if you're busy, if you don't have any time, if you have too many things, if you're overloaded, it's just really normal. So I want to refer to a writer who writes on overwhelm, Bridget Schulte, in her book, which is called Overwhelm, Work, Love, and Play with No One Has Time. She scrutinizes why so many people feel overwhelmed. And in an interview with the Atlantic magazine, she points out that one of the most common reasons for the rise in overwhelm, it's the need to be overly busy. And that's when it just hit me, because how we sometimes create busyness in order to conform to this social ideal. And it's worthy to be busy. And Schulte says, I don't say this to blame people. I do it too. And frankly speaking, I often also do it. But the only way to change it, if we don't like it, it's to first to become aware of it. Be aware that it's our urge to confirm, to be worthy, to feel good enough, that drives us sometimes unconsciously. And that brings us to the feeling of not being good enough. And frankly speaking, in my work with hundreds of people in Asia and in Europe, the fact that they're not feeling good enough, this really drives anxiety and depression, because we keep on telling ourselves, it's not good enough, I need to perform better, it's not good enough, I need to earn more, it's not good enough, I need a better partner. These relationships, they're not satisfying me, I need more friends, I need more dates. And it comes up and up and up, and it just never stops. This feeling, this deep, deep feeling of not feeling good enough, it's this what brings us overwhelmed. And how to deal with this, because from my blog and from everything that I shared with you now, you already understood where overwhelm comes from, that it's a symptom of chronic stress, of anxiety, of depression, and of a deep underlying feeling of not feeling good enough. But then now let's go over to how can we shift this. A feeling of not feeling good enough, this is normally stored in your subconscious. So sometimes we run on subconscious patterns. Something has happened in your childhood that you made that decision, that you had that belief, I'm not good enough, I'm not perfect enough, I'm not good at doing it in a good way. Otherwise, my parents, my caregivers, my siblings, my teachers, they wouldn't react to me in this way. And frankly speaking, if you have experienced helplessness in your childhood, if you've experienced hopelessness, and who hasn't, right? Because who can say that they had the perfect childhood? But again, if you experience these difficult core feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, aloneness, then you might have this coping mechanism, I am not good enough. So going back to the childhood, going back to these patterns, going back to these beliefs, where does this come from? Whose belief was that? What happened that I took on this belief? What were people telling me when I was small that I believed that I wasn't good enough? And the last question, is it really true? What people told me when I was 4, or when I was 6, or when I was 8, is it really true? So I want you to take a piece of paper now, and I want you to write down 10 things. We're going to be a little bit in this victimhood now. Okay, I don't like a victimhood, but for now we just need and we just want to pinpoint these beliefs of you. I want you to write down every belief of you which is connected to this feeling of overwhelm, this feeling I am not good enough. So you can pause the video now and just start to write. Start to write 10 things. Feel as a victim. Feel as a victim now. Feel when you were a small child, you were feeling helplessness, hopelessness, not feeling good enough. What was the belief? So when you finished to write down these 10 things, you just come back. So I want you to look at these 10 things now. Read them out loud, each and every one of them. And when you're reading them through, I want you to ask yourself now, seeing yourself, perceiving yourself as an adult which I'm sure is very resilient, because otherwise you wouldn't be here listening to me on this video. Because people I work with, people I often meet, they're very, very resilient people. And we often forget how many coping skills we have. And I want to ask you now, Do you have the skills now to deal with this overwhelm? And maybe you're not going to have all of these skills, right? Because to build up a toolkit, it needs work, right? Is it therapeutic work? Is it coaching? Is it really doing deep work? Is it having cognitive skills? Is it doing yoga, breath work, body work? You have a lot of solutions, right? And maybe from all 10 of these beliefs that you wrote down, you're not going to have the skill to completely deny that belief or let go of that belief. But I want you to look at these beliefs, and if there's one belief that you can let go today, one, only one, and I guess for sure it's going to be 2, 3, 4, right? But if it's only one, this means you have coping skills. So I want you to write down next to each of this belief which coping skill you have. How do you cope? So I'm going to give you an example. You feel completely stressed out after work. Your coping can be you go to the gym. Or you feel completely stressed out when you call your mom. Your coping skill can be I call one of my best friends who listens to me, who makes me feel heard and seen. So again, pause this video. Look at these beliefs. Look at the beliefs that are not serving you anymore, and the beliefs that you already have coping skills. And put a cross next to it. And for the beliefs that you do not have any coping skills, the following strategies will help you, right? The first one is cognitive-based approaches, which means controlling your thoughts, right? We are often in a vicious circle of self-criticism, a vicious circle where we're beating ourselves up, and this is not helping us. This is not helping us to boost our self-esteem. It just leads to inertia, denial, passive acceptance. So if we start to control our thoughts, and we start to really have a look at that inner critic, our whole world starts to change. The second is exercise-based approaches. So relying on embodied engagement, releasing of neurotransmitters, really relaxing the brain. So meditation can do this, hypnosis for sure can do this, breathing exercises can do this, biofeedback can do this. A wonderful modality that I work with is heart math. And heart math is so it's the connection with the brain and the heart, right? And it's heart-focused breathing. So I'll lead you now through a couple of minutes of heart math breathing. And this is amazing because if you use this technique every day, while you're walking, when you're standing in front of, on a crossroad, just when you think of it, when you just open your eyes in the morning, I assure you, if you do this 2-3 times a day, your whole world changes. Because why? Because we start to balance our nervous system by deep, deep belly breath, focusing on the heart. We give a sign to a message to our brain, telling ourselves, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm feeling calm. And we really shift these emotions. And by relaxing your nervous system more and more, you start to take control over your feelings and your emotions. So let me guide you through this. So I want you to close your eyes. And we're going to start to breathe in at 5. Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in through your nose on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let go on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just one more time. Breathe in 5. Breathe out on 5. And I want you to focus on the area of your heart. Breathe in. Feel the air passing your heart. Breathe out. Feel the air passing your heart. Focus on the area of your heart. Feel your heart. And I want you to go back to an event, time, memory, where you were feeling joy. Maybe you were alone, maybe with someone, maybe with a pet, with a spiritual figure. I want you to feel that joy in your heart. Feel it. Regenerate it. Feel how good you felt. How joyful you felt. Feel that joy. You can open your eyes now. How are you feeling? So this only took 2 minutes. So by doing this breathing exercise and focusing on your heart, it completely shifts your day. It shifts your mood and your feelings, and you start to be really in control, right? Which is an amazing tool for people who feel overwhelmed, who feel out of control. Because frankly speaking, we cannot lose control. Control is a muscle. We cannot lose that muscle, right? We cannot have control over the outer things. Because if you want to control all your outer world, it means inside you're not in control. But using these cognitive tools, also these exercise-based approaches, it brings us back into control. The third strategy that I want to share with you is behavioral approaches. So again, if you need to distance yourself from thoughts, feelings, emotions, circumstances that trigger overwhelm. So when you feel overcome, you can ring a friend, listen to inspiring music, write in your journal, and this will stop the anxiety, right? Coming back to yourself, approaching someone trustworthy, someone you feel good with, listening to this inspiring, relaxing music. It brings you back into a safe zone. And once you're settled, then you can really start to reflect on overwhelm and anxiety. Okay, but again, don't do that when you're really in overwhelm, in anxiety, because when you're already in fight and flight, your logical brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, it gets shut down, so you cannot think logically. The first thing we do is bring us back, and to bring us back to that safe space, we need to use some of these techniques. The fourth thing I want to discuss with you is the contemplative approach, which can be meditation, mindfulness, hypnosis, self-compassion. Kristen Neff's work is amazing. I really admire her. I suggest this work to all of my clients. The techniques she has in her book, these are really, really amazing. Yoga, Tai Chi, breathing exercises. This all helps us to work, to control limiting beliefs and concepts, calm our mind, reduce stress, and develop a broader perspective on your own self, the relationship with the world, and your perceptions of it. So I would like to thank you for listening to me. Please send me an email, drop me an email, send me a WeChat text. My WeChat is Laimei, Laimei 1979. My email is me@laimeyung.com. Drop me an email or a text, and I really want to hear from you. Have these tips been useful for you? What was useful? What wasn't useful? If you want to experience hypnotherapy, if you want to really deal with overwhelm, break free of overwhelm, be in control of your life and yourself, contact me. I have 60 minutes free intakes where we discuss your challenges, your objective, and let's see if you and me were a fit to work together, and let's do this empowering journey. Because again, behind overwhelm, behind anxiety, is a whole new world of being in control of yourself, of having this toolkit, these coping skills, and picking up this tool for whatever situation you're in and implementing, because there will always be challenges. There are a lot of waves in the sea. What we want to do is we want to surf the waves. That's what we want to do. Bye. Thank you for listening.